Hey, yes boys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be giving my best bets for UFC Mexico. Brandon Moreno taking on Brandon Royval in the main event. Really looking forward to this fun little flyweight scrap in the main event. I've got some very good plays for this card in my opinion. I have some good parlays. I've got many money lines on this card. I think there's some value spots in this card, and I think that I've found and picked the spots very well on this card. But before we get into this best bets video, I have to explain what I'm doing with some of these new bets that I'm tracking myself. BetMMA tips is very limited to what I can do on this website. I'm up 57.29 units on this website, but overall I'm up 61.62 units. I have started to track my own bets, such as these bets, which I will be dragging over. There we go. These bets right here. As you can see, these bets, the significant strikes, the total strikes, and some of the takedown lines that I will be starting to track on my own, I'm not able to track them on BetMMA tips. BetMMA tips is very limited to what I can track, so these bets right here, we went 3-0 for the first ever 3 bets that I tracked. Very good lines I got there, I thought they were very sharp plays for myself. And then this weekend, as you can see here, we have 2 bets that I will be breaking down in just a matter of moments. We were up 4.33 units overall, but we lost 1.3 units on our BetMMA tips. So if you do 4.33 minus 1.3, it comes out to 3.03 units profit. So yeah, we're up like 61.62 units overall. So very happy with our progress. We're on a 4 event win streak, 4-1 in our last 5 events. So let's keep that momentum going into UFC Mexico, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get right into the best bets video then. Our first bet of the night. Let me just go back to this window. Our first bet of the night is going to be Eric Silva moneyline versus Muhammad Naimov. Plus 400, I played him for 0.8 units. I think Muhammad Naimov is a guy that will just lose to someone he shouldn't lose to. He's a minus, 600 favorite now, minus 550 in some books, around there. I haven't really checked the line in the past few days. But yeah, Eric Silva plus 400. I'm very interested in what this guy's going to be able to do. He's been training at that Mexican camp in, Tijuana with Alexa Grasso, Diego Lopez, Alessandro Costa. Has a lot of momentum right now. They're putting out some killers, the striking, the aggressiveness. He's been training at that gym, and I think that gym's a very good gym for him. The aggressiveness he can utilize on the feet. And I think, like I said, I think Muhammad Naimov's a guy that I just don't really like him being a minus 550 favorite against anyone in the UFC. Like, he was losing to Malarkey until he won, and then he had a very weird performance against Wood that he grabbed the cage about 4 times, nutshotted Wood about 7 times, and somehow still won the fight. But I'm not convinced that this dude should be a minus 550 favorite. I think that Eric Silva I think Eric Silva is very live early in this fight. I think if he gets the takedowns early, it's going to be very interesting. I think Muhammad Naimov does win this fight, no doubt in my mind. Well, no doubt, that's a lie. I think that I would line this fight maybe like minus 300, minus 250, kind of what it started out as. But a plus 400 for Eric Silva, I just find that kind of bizarre in my opinion. I think Eric Silva can have success in this matchup, especially early on. And yeah, Muhammad Naimov probably wins this fight. I'd probably say by decision, but yeah, I think Eric Silva is very live in this matchup at plus 400 especially. Our next bet of the night will be Luis Rodriguez taking on Denise Bondar. I'm going to go with Luis Rodriguez at plus 100 at 1.4 units. I think that Luis Rodriguez is going to be the way better striker in my opinion in this matchup. He's not very active, but I just don't like Denise Bondar when I'm watching him on the feet. I'm just like, oh, stop striking, please, shoot a takedown. And I'm just not high on Denise Bondar's grappling. at this level, he had very high, well, not high level grappling on the regional scene, but you know what I mean. He had good grappling on the regional scene, beating guys on the regional scene. But at 125, man, it's so hard to have a grappling heavy style because obviously these guys are very scrambly and such. And this guy's very one-dimensional, in my opinion. Very one-dimensional, very bad on the feet, in my opinion. Yeah, Luis Rodriguez, sorry, I just got interrupted. Luis Rodriguez will be landing the harder strikes in this matchup, and I think he will win this fight by decision, like 30-27, 29-28, and all judges' scorecards, in my opinion. Our next bet of the night will be Mateusz Mendonca taking on Jesus Aguilar. I am absolutely not high on Jesus Aguilar in any aspect of MMA. He is terrible at striking. His guillotine is nasty, I'll be honest. His guillotine's nasty. His grappling is not very good. His wrestling isn't very good. His durability is pretty good. His cardio is solid, but in the terms of technical aspects of MMA, this guy's not very good. I think Mateusz Mendonca, the size difference, the power advantage, the grappling ability offensively, the wrestling ability offensively to get on top, be the bigger guy, to be the more physically imposing fighter, is going to be a massive difference in this matchup. At minus 138, I think the play is Mateusz Mendonca all day. I think we're getting a discount for his performance against Nate Maness in his last fight, which was pretty terrible, and I think we're getting a discount because of that Shannon Ross KO in 14 seconds or something. I actually bet Shannon Ross in that matchup. Terrible bet, I knew, but I did actually beat the line movement. It doesn't matter. Terrible bet. Betting Shannon Ross in the UFC. What are you doing, bro? Yeah, terrible bet for me, but it happens. It happens. And our next bet on night is going to be, what is our next bet, Luis? Manuel Torres, right? Manuel Torres taking on Chris Duncan. Chris Duncan, I just think this guy's chin suspect, man, and I think he is very hittable, especially early on in the fight. I think if this goes late, Chris Duncan's very live to upset Manuel Torres. I have Manuel Torres minus 120 for 2 units. I got the early line for Manuel Torres. Yeah, pretty confident Manuel Torres here. I think he can get him out early here. I think his speed, his power, his accuracy, his athleticism, especially early on against Chris Duncan, who in my opinion is a pretty slow start. He does pick up the pace and gets better as the fight goes on, but a slow starter against a guy like Manuel Torres is a very, very bad ask in my opinion. I think Manuel Torres will be able to land that big shot early on and put Chris Duncan out cold in my opinion. And our next bet of the night is going to be Christian Quinonez taking on Hani Barcelos, plus 150 for 1.3 units. I think that Christian Quinonez, honestly, it's kind of a fade on Hani Barcelos at this point in his career. I think that Hani Barcelos is well past it, man. He's 1-4 in his last 5 fights. This guy used to be on the brink of the rankings, very high level. Somehow he didn't get his run, probably which he deserved. He kind of got to the UFC pretty later on in his career, kind of missed his prime. Yeah, and I think that Christian Quinonez is going to be the more durable guy in this matchup. I think he's going to be the faster guy in this matchup, and I just, it's kind of, like I said, it's kind of a feel on Hani Barcelos. If Hani Barcelos goes back to years, like 3-4 years ago, I think he probably wins this fight all day. I think the line 4 years ago, he's probably minus 300 to be honest, but Christian Quinonez, this guy's very aggressive on the feet, good on the outside especially, and I think that he can win this fight from the outside and kind of pick Hani Barcelos apart on the outside. And Hani Barcelos tries to make this a brawl. I think his durability will be in question in this matchup, and I think that Christian Quinonez can win this matchup by decision or by KO, because like I said, Hani Barcelos, I don't know about his durability anymore at this stage in his career. So yeah, give me Christian Quinonez by decision then. Our next bit of night will be Francisco Prado taking on Daniel Zellhuber. I'm going to go with Francisco Prado in this matchup. I think that I think that Daniel Zellhuber wins this fight, but for the value play, a plus 225, 1.2 units, I like Francisco Prado in this matchup. I think this guy is very dangerous, especially early on. I like his submission ability as well. He can win the fight either way, by KO or by submission. Yes, you're probably saying he did beat bums on the regional scene by submission, but he has clearly shown a threat in that area of MMA. I think that Daniel Zellhuber is very hittable. He leaves his chin out there, and I think that Francisco Prado can land over and over again on Daniel Zellhuber, especially if he's able to get in the inside and uses boxing, uses powerful hands, and I think that he has the speed to surprise Daniel Zellhuber in this fight. So yeah, give me the plus 225 underdog at 1.2 units in this matchup. And then our next fight is going to be Brian Ortega taking on Yair Rodriguez. If this was 3 rounds, I'd probably pick Yair Rodriguez all day in this matchup. But I think Brian Ortega, over the 5 rounds, is able to get this fight to the ground. As we've seen in their first fight, yes, he was getting pieced up, but I think that Brian Ortega, at the end of the round 1, was a big tell, in my opinion. I actually bet Yair Rodriguez at like plus 150, but I think that Brian Ortega, at the end of round 1, that's just not a good sign for Yair Rodriguez in this matchup. And I think that Brian Ortega's durability, his cardio, will be able to get this win for him over the 5 rounds. I think he struggles early, right? I think he struggles early, but as the fight goes on, you'll start seeing him get more control, and start to, really just clearly win the fight. That's how I see this fight going. I think he wins this fight clearly over the 5 rounds, struggles early, but over the 5 rounds, I think he wins this matchup. And our next, onto the parlays now, actually. Dos Santos and Yorgi. I think that Dos Santos is the way better striker, wins this fight pretty easily. Gonna keep it brief. Yorgi, I think he's way better. I mean, the speed, the athleticism, the technique on the feet is just gonna be vastly different in this matchup compared to Sam Hughes. Sam Hughes has improved though, but I just think Yorgi is on another level, to be honest, compared to Sam Hughes, in my opinion. And our next parlay is Sherez. That was for minus 170 for 2.5 units, my biggest parlay of the night. We'll actually bet moneyline bets of tonight, and then Sherez to win, and then Rusas Jr. to win. I'm not betting Daniel Lacerda anymore in the UFC. I think this guy's just cooked, to be honest. He gives up whenever he has to face adversity. I don't see him finishing Charas early on. I think that Charas actually finishes Daniel Lacerda pretty early on here by, I'm going to go KO, to be honest. I think that I just don't see Daniel Lacerda surviving after he takes a big shot in the chin whatsoever. 0-4-1 in the UFC. I mean, kind of unfortunate, to be honest, his run in the UFC, but I think that Charas is way better, to be honest. And then Rusas Jr., I think that Rusas Jr. technically on the ground, technically on the feet is just better. I think he's just way better than than Ricky Tertius. Ricky Tertius is very scrambly. He's a very awkward fighter on the feet, very awkward on the ground, but I think Rusas Jr. is a way better grappler here. I think that he is able to establish control. He is able to get dominant positions on the ground. Rusas Jr. is nasty on the ground, man. This kid's submission ability, his grappling ability is very high level. And on the feet, he's going to be the more athletic guy. He's going to be the faster guy. He's going to be the more powerful guy, in my opinion, in this matchup. So yeah, Rusas Jr. all day. And then our bets right here. Let's go back to the spreadsheet. Our last 2 bets off tonight is going to be Francisco Prado over 16.5 significant strikes, round 1. I think this line's crazy, man. I think that they're reading too much into the Malarkey fight. He took that fight on like 3 days' notice, and that just was not him in there, man. He looked like a completely different fighter compared to his last fight and on the regional scene. Yes, you could probably say the step up in competition, maybe, but dude, he was just not throwing any strikes in that matchup, not opening up whatsoever, and I think that we will see a different Francisco Prado in the UFC compared to his first fight. And so over 16.5 strikes against a guy that is kind of hittable, absorbs many strikes. I think he's absorbed over 16.5 strikes in all of his UFC fights so far in the first round. So I like this, and this fight will be on the feet for the most part. I think that this does go to a decision. I don't see anyone finishing this fight early. Whoever finishes this fight early, I think it's Francisco Prado, but I don't see anyone finishing this fight early. I think that the over 16.5 significant strike round 1 is very, very good. It's sitting at 18.5 now. I beat 2 significant strikes, a line movement, so that's pretty good right there. Minus 120 for 2.4 units right there. And the max bet, the Sicky Dawes max bet of the week, Yasmin Yorgi versus Sam Hughes under 76.5 strikes, round 1. I am 7-0 in max bets. I love this play so much. I don't see Sam Hughes getting any strikes. I don't really see her getting over 20 strikes in round 1. I don't even see her getting over 20 strikes in round 1. I don't see her being able to grapple. That's how she would get her strikes up. her strikes, from this clinch, from the ground. I don't see her being able to get Yasmin Yorgi down on the ground, and I don't see Yasmin Yorgi landing like 50 strikes on Sam Hughes. I see that Yasmin Yorgi, I think that she could be more hesitant in this matchup, coming off that KO loss to Denise Gomez. So yeah, I love this 76.5 play. It's sitting at 71.5. I did beat 5 points on line movement. I even love the 71.5. I think this, I would line this at like 63.5, to be honest. I really love this 76.5 play that I have. And like I said, it is starting to come down, which I'm not surprised about. 4 units play right there. Hopefully we can make it 5-0 on our, prop significant strike bets / the statistical props. Hopefully we can make it 5-0 this weekend. But yeah, guys, there you have it. There was my UFC Mexico best bets video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and yeah, good luck this weekend. Enjoy the fights. Let's make some cash and destroy the bookies this Saturday night, boys. Good luck. See you there. Peace.